Hey, Facebook family. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. I didn't expect to see you guys today, but I was called into CNN this morning again, called in for the whole Jussie Smollett situation and Lil Tink Tink chiming in and all of that. And so I started off wanting to talk to you a little bit about that because I had fun today on set with Brooke Baldwin. For those of you who've seen the video that's up now, I was actually able to get her off her game face, and I got her to laugh live on TV. So I thought that was pretty cool. She wasn't expecting me to say something that I said that she found funny. And so it was kind of cool to get her to chuckle, take off her game face or get her off her game or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I thought I would, talk a little bit about that. And as we're coming on, you guys, share this on your timeline. And hey, Theoris. And then I had a really interesting phone call. Well, let me just back up because listen, y'all, I'm feeling extra honorary today. Right now, I'm feeling extra honorary. And so this is kind of going to be a personal rant for a little bit, if you don't mind. I feel like we family. So I just want to talk to you a little bit today. Okay. I'm a little late because I just left the Sprint office, you guys, and I don't know when the last time was any of you did an upgrade, bought a phone or whatever, but I've been in there for, I'm not kidding you, it was about an hour. It was about an hour. I'm like, am I buying a car, a house, or am I just getting an upgrade and getting another phone? It was a mess, but my rep over there was very helpful, and when they asked me, I'm going to be sure to tell them to give him a little something extra in his Easter basket in a couple of weeks, because I think he worked it out for me. And you know how they do, they get you to get all kind of stuff that you didn't even want to get. I can charge my phone by just, doing like I Dream of Jeannie back in the day, right? Remember how she would just blink, right? I'm dating myself again with these TV shows from back in the day. I know these kids don't know nothing about it, but I'm told that the kids are no longer on Facebook. So I think I'm talking to my contemporaries right now. But anyway, listen, guys, I've been telling you about my legal struggle, my fist fight that I'm having with Los Angeles Unified School District. And the thing that made me want to talk about the LAUSD today, because when I was on CNN this morning and talking about Jussie Smollett, and listen, I know there are a contingency of people who are excited that he is getting away with it. And then there's a contingency of people who believe, what's right is right, and color has nothing to do with it. And like I've always said, it's about the haves and the have-nots, right? And I said, if you got coin and you got a good attorney, then you get the homie hookup. And so, that's what's going on. And it just so happens that the person who's getting the homie hookup happens to kind of look like me, right? So it got me to thinking about, being bullied, everybody doesn't get the same equal treatment. There is no level playing field. John Q. Citizen out there, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? When it comes to justice, injustice, disparate treatment. And listen, that happens in a variety of places, all sorts of occupations. It's not unique to police departments. But it is unique to folks who have money. Hey, thanks, Anthony, for that. I appreciate that. You said I did an awesome job. I appreciate that. And so I was just thinking about that. And then, of course, today I had a very interesting conversation with my attorney who's representing me, Robert Stanford Brown, the man, the myth, the legend, who's representing me with my LAUSD lawsuit. And listen, I had to go through about 6 or 7 attorneys before I would find one that had the will to take on a large entity like the LAUSD, which is the second largest district in the nation. So, he was prepared to do the heavy lifting, and I am forever grateful about that. But what I found out is, guys, so I wanted to, talk a little bit about white privilege, right? Because that's why little Tink Tink and some of the others are all worked up about Jussie Smollett, because they want to know how is he getting, what we only get, right? Which leads me to my old bosses at LAUSD. Because what I found out today, talking to my attorney, is that the Inspector General over at the LAUSD, his name was Ken Bramlett. And Ken Bramlett didn't do his job when he was over at the LAUSD as the Inspector General, because I had gone to everybody from Michelle King, the superintendent, all the way to every member of the Board of Education, including the beloved Dr. George McKenna over there at LAUSD, somebody who, well, he don't really look like me, but he is a Black man ethnically. And I got no help. I got no assistance. And so now what I know to be true, because I found out a lot of stuff through discovery, I have been given documents because, when you request it, they got to turn over stuff. And so I have seen things that they never expected me to see, because they never expected I would get an attorney who would fight them. And they never expected that although I tried to warn them, that I would continue to fight as long as I've been fighting. And I have been fighting with them. We have been doing this dance since 2014. It's 2019. And I am just maybe going to go to court on July 15th. My court case has been extended 3 different times. I told you that, but listen, I don't know if they're trying to wear me out and see if I'm gonna die or what, because they keep extending this thing. And that's what they do, you guys. If you ever have a situation, know it's a marathon, not a sprint. And they will try to wear you down, grind you down. And, that's what they do. But I'm in it to win it, y'all. I'm honorary and I ain't going nowhere. And so because my God is amazing and really time has worked to my benefit, all these extensions and delays in my court trial has provided me and my attorney with some additional information, which leads me to the whole white privilege thing that I started off talking about. Because listen, I'm going to share some stuff with you. I was blogging when they were raking me over the coals at LAUSD, and I was going to everybody that I could, Lottie Dottie and everybody, and telling them that they were treating me unfairly, that they were discriminating against me, they were retaliating against me for speaking out on it. I wrote blogs about it. So because I wouldn't go sit in a corner and be quiet, they sent me home. And they sent me home and they paid me for 6 months to do nothing. So I traveled while I was at home, because all I had to do was just call in at 8 o'clock in the morning and call in again at 4 o'clock. And so, shoot, I was able to do that from here and from Switzerland and from Hong Kong and anywhere else that I wanted to go, right? So I'm writing all these blogs because I'm like, okay, are you guys really, you just gonna really treat me this way? And they sent me home and they said, if you stop blogging, we'll continue to pay you through the end of the fiscal year. You sign a letter of resignation and promise never to return. And I said, well, why would I do that? No. And they said, if you don't do that, then we're going to bring more discipline against you. And I said, name that tune, bring that discipline. And so they did. And the discipline ultimately ended up in me going to a kangaroo court administrative hearing over at the LAUSD, which was chaired by the deputy superintendent over there, the number 2, Vivian Ekchian. Now, she did her job. She sat there and she filed her nails and flossed her teeth while my attorney was explaining due process and how I had been wronged. And she was like, are you done? Are you done? Because I got a graduation to go to. And when we weren't done, she said, are you done? Because I got a graduation to go to. And we said, yeah, we're done. So she left, and she thought because she was a good soldier that they were going to make her the superintendent. But again, because my God is amazing, that ass didn't get made the superintendent. So to placate her, they put her in the number 2 position, right? So all of this stuff that I complained about, they tried to pretend like I was the bad guy and that I was just, unruly and unreasonable, unteachable, untrainable. And guess what? A year or so after that, because of discovery and other things that were going on, I found out that my boss my immediate supervisor, Jorge Urijo, who was doing the dirty work of Frank Kabibi, the deputy inspector general, they were all piling up on me. My supervisor, the deputy inspector general, and the inspector general. So, even though Jorge is Hispanic, I'm gonna just say you got 3 good white men going against this little chocolate girl, right? But I'm in it to win it, and I'm honorary. And so now what I know is that all hell was breaking loose over there at the LAUSD. I have found out, and I'm going to share this article with you, that there was all kind of shenanigans that were going on while I was there and after they sent me home, and exponentially after they fired me. And so this is an article that I'm sharing with you about the shenanigans that were going on. And this guy who did this article, his name is Kyle Stokes. And I have been in communication with him, and I put him in touch with my attorney, and I shared with him some of the depositions of the 3 people who I call the unholy trinity. That's the inspector general, the deputy inspector general, and my immediate supervisor. I refer to them as the unholy trinity because that's what they are. And so I've been sharing information with him and documents and stuff. And so he has written this really interesting article about all of the shenanigans that are going on. And more importantly, it explains why Ken Bramlett, the inspector general, was his contract was not renewed. His contract was not renewed. And then the deputy inspector general, Frank Kabibi, he was unceremoniously shown the door in March of last year, 2018, because of all the things that I was complaining about, all the things that I had asked Michelle King, could you make it stop? And she just looked at me and said, nothing. Well, she did say something. She had one of her deputy general counsel people over there at the OIG, at the Office of General Counsel, the attorneys for the school district. She had one of her attorneys write me a letter and say, do not contact Michelle King again. We are working on a resolution. She's aware of your concern. But what they didn't tell me is that the resolution was they were going to fire me. So that's what Michelle King did for me, right? And now, because Michelle King didn't do her job, and because Dave Holmquist, the general counsel over there at the school district, didn't do his job, now they have just a shit show going on. And that's the article that I just shared with you that was written about everything that has happened since I filed my lawsuit. There have been other lawsuits and other complaints, complaints of sexual harassment and discrimination, all of the things that I had talked about that was going on. But when they were doing it to me, it was all good. It's when they started doing it to the good white woman that it became a problem. And so you see, that's what that white privilege looks like. And having had all of that happen, having them ask Ken Bramlett, well, not ask him, tell him, we're not going to renew your contract, sir, because you ran a shady ship and you got a whole lot of stuff going on that we got to explain now, sir. So we're not going to renew your contract. Do you know that this joker was able to go over to Albuquerque, New Mexico. He is now, Ken Bramlett is now the inspector general. He is the inspector general over in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm going to share that article with you too, because I'm wondering, well, what the heck kind of background check did y'all do over there when you hired him? Did y'all know the shit show and the shit storm that he had going on over here at the LAUSD? Do you know Albuquerque, New Mexico, why he was not given another contract over here at the LAUSD? Because I promise you, if I had done half of the stuff that this man did do, and we know that he did it, if I had done half of that, do you think I would be able to get a job? Frank Kabibi, the actual perpetrator, the actual suspect in this crime, if you will, he's got another job. Now, I don't know where he's working. I didn't have time to find that out, so I could share it with you. I may be doing a little letter writing over to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and just asking them the questions that I'm asking of you. Did y'all do a background check? Because listen, when I was working for LAPD, here's what I know. I sued the LAPD in the last 2 years that I was there for sexual harassment. Commanding officer was sexually harassing me. There were hundreds of people that were being dealt with in a bad way. And there was a class action lawsuit and I got in on it. And some people prevailed, others didn't. I was one that did. And so when I first left LAPD, honorably retired 20 years as a sergeant in patrol, I decided, you know what, I'm still really young. I don't know what I want to do. So maybe I'll go work as a dispatcher, because I've been on the other end of the radio. I'll work as a dispatcher. I applied for Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Corona PD as a dispatcher, California Department of Corrections as a jailer. I thought, okay, well, I'm certainly qualified enough to just say open tier 3, close tier 3. And guess what? I couldn't get a job. Nobody would hire me. Why? Well, probably because LAPD blackballed me, because I had successfully won a lawsuit. Now, I can't prove that, but listen, with 20 years as an LAPD sergeant on a major metropolitan police department, and I'm not qualified to be a dispatcher, FOH. This is what happens to folks who look like me. And I share this with you because somebody out there, if you're not going through it, you might go through it. Because we all understand, those of us who've, been around a minute or two, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And so I share this with you because when it happens, I don't want you to lose your collective minds. I want you to be able to have the strength, the stamina, and the determination to fight like hell. Fight like hell. Much like I questioned for that female chief over in Virginia why she didn't fight like hell. I don't know. But, I know everybody's not built like that. Everybody ain't honorary like me. I get that. But listen, it's not no joke. And so when I talk to you, I'm not just pulling stuff out of my nether regions, right? I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I lived. And I'm telling you what I'm dealing with right now, real time, while everything else is going on. I'm dealing with this. But I'm believing that at the end of the day, I believe in the strength of my case. And I believe that I am absolutely going to prevail. But, again, it's just, white folks can do stuff and get away with it, and they can get second chances. And, we heard, sharing another article with you about LAUSD shenanigans. You heard when Timothy Loman was given that gift of resignation after he shot and killed Tamir Rice, and he was offered a position at another police department, and the chief over there, I think it was a sheriff, he said, well, he wasn't convicted. True enough, he wasn't, but we know he did that. And so he said, I think he deserves a second chance. And so they get second chances all the time. But we don't get those second chances. And that's why, I think, well, I don't know that necessarily that's why the mayor over there in Chicago is all upset. I don't know if that's why he's got his panties in a bunch. I think that's more of a police cultural thing. And I understand police culture. That's why when I talk about comply and complain, I say do that, because when you piss one of them off, there's a price to pay. Well, Jussie Smollett, he pissed one of them off. He pissed off Superintendent Eddie Johnson, and he definitely pissed off Mayor Rahm Emanuel. I even have a term that I trademarked, contempt of cop. You piss a cop off, there's a price to pay. Sometimes that price could be a traffic ticket. Sometimes that price could be, we'll put you in jail. Not me personally, but I'm just saying police officers, because I didn't do that, be clear. YouTube, I don't want y'all sending me a whole bunch of crazy messages and then I'm gonna have to delete you. But police officers will create a reason, manufacture probable cause to arrest you on a Friday, put you in jail, knowing that on Monday it'll be a DA reject because they don't have sufficient evidence to prove that case. Probable cause is a very low standard, and so they are okay with doing that on a Friday when they know you can't make bail, right? You spend all weekend in jail, and then on Monday you go to court and they say it's a DA reject, and then they let you go, with your shit in a knapsack and give you a bus token, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I know I'm walking down somebody's street right now. And so this is what happens. And that's why I think they are so upset over there in Chicago, because contempt of cop. We spent all these resources. And listen, that's not to say that Jussie didn't make that up, because I think he did make it up. I think it absolutely was a hoax. But, they spent all of these resources and time and energy. And, they gave the Nigerians, they gave them the homie hookup too, when they didn't prosecute them as co-conspirators, because that's absolutely what they were. They were co-conspirators. And so once they said, well, we're not going to prosecute you because we really want that big fish, that fucking marlin, tuna, whatever big fish you want to say, grouper. I watch a lot of Nat Geo, don't judge me. But yeah, they wanted the big fish. They wanted Jussie. So they I think, I don't know, I think they made a deal with the Nigerians and said, we won't charge you. They had them under the heat lamp for 47 hours, question them. And they got all the information that they needed. And then Jussie's defense team did what a defense attorney is supposed to do. Get your client off. Figure it out. Make it happen. Get her done. You know, that's what a defense attorney's job is to do. And now they can't go back. They've already said, the prosecutor has said that, yeah, we're not exonerating him. We're not saying he didn't do it. Well, if you're not saying he didn't do it, Kim Foxx, then why in the heck would you drop all charges? Who does that? Who does that? That doesn't happen for John Q. Citizen. That won't happen for me. It won't happen for you. But when you got money like Jussie and you can get a good attorney, you get what I think I'm gonna have to trademark the homie hookup next, because Brooke Baldwin really liked it and I kind of like it too. But you get love, you know, you get off. And so they're upset because somebody is getting off who don't look like them. Now, you know, the next big thing that's coming is Robert Kraft, because, you know, he's another old curmudgeon. And he said the officers lied, that sex tape, that happy ending that they got on video, his naked ass in that spa. He said that they lied. It doesn't exist. Now, why would somebody say there's a video of you getting a hand job if you didn't get a hand job on more than one occasion? Now, he didn't say that he didn't go there. He just said that they lied, but the lies were too substantial, I guess, for him to really go into detail. So, yeah. So, but Robert Kraft, listen, be clear. Be clear he's going to get a homie hookup. That's why he said, I'm not agreeing to nothing. They offered him plead guilty. You know, they thought they could do him like they do T-Bone when they get him, and he'll plead guilty to anything to get to go home in about 30, 40 days or 6 months or a year. Robert Kraft said, I'm not pleading to nothing. Robert Kraft, I'm not pleading to nothing. Because he too is going to have an amazing defense team, and he'll get something, but he not going to plead guilty. You know, he'll pay a fine because he too does not have a criminal record. You know, there's not, you know, this is kind of like well, it's not a victimless crime because there were sex trafficking victims that were being utilized for those services. But you understand what I'm saying. It wasn't like he was robbing banks or robbing stores. He didn't hit nobody over the head and take their purse. It wasn't that kind of a situation. But yeah, so, you know, that's why they're having such a hard time letting this thing go with Jussie. And, you know, while little Tink Tink is talking about he wants the FBI to investigate, he can want all day long because they have protocols and there's things that they do and things that they don't do. I don't see them investigating. I saw another article that's roaming around. I don't know if it was The Root or who it was that said now they're you know, they're really taking it personal. They really looking like a girl, you know, who just got broken up with and they don't want to end the relationship. Because now they're trying to figure out how to do something about the monies that are paid by Empire to the state or to the city for filming in Chicago. If they can get money out of the production company, some kind of credits or tax credit that they would be given. Now they don't want to give it to them. I mean, they are just, they're bananas with this whole, they want to hurt Jussie. And so, you know, while ultimately, you know, this is not good for him because it keeps him in the news in a negative way. This is probably a PR nightmare for whoever his handlers are. I do believe at the end of the day, this is probably going to be a career ender for him, I think, because we don't, you know, have the money to keep a show floating. Just us, you know, we need the assistance. Lee Daniels, he needs the assistance of other people that don't look like him. And I think I heard, if it hasn't happened already, it's in the process. Disney is about to buy Fox. And if Disney buys Fox, then, you know, that Disney is going to protect their reputation. And so I just don't see Disney wanting to be, you know, saddled with any project that Smollett might be involved in. So, so it's not over. But anyway, yeah, they're going to keep trying. And I think I mentioned this before, the FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, they're on, you know, they're on board and they want something done. And so this is what contempt of cop looks like. This is what it looks like when you piss a police officer off. Now, listen, they can't do nothing to Jussie right now. They can't just go and, you know, pull him over and then shoot him because they said he scared him because he looked ferocious, right? I don't know if he drives around in Chicago, if he's got a driver. He needs to be very careful because, you know, you guys say to me that there's a lot of shenanigans that go on in Chicago. So he needs to be very careful. But they're going to find a way. You know, they say there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So they're going to find a way to skin him one way or the other, or just keep him tied up in foolishness where no studio or no production company is going to want to be affiliated with whatever it is that they drag him through. And they have nothing but time on their hands to keep coming up with things to keep him in a negative light. So again, if he didn't look like he looks, he'd get that Kenneth Bramlett situation. He'd be able to go and get another job like my old boss did. And you just, when you get some time, really take a look at those articles that I shared, because one of them is fairly lengthy, but it goes into great detail about what was going on. And it doesn't necessarily name names, but it mentions me in there kind of towards the middle end, in that my depositions were used as a basis for this reporter, Kyle Stokes, to understand and know that, you know, what I had been telling him all along was legit. He just needed some facts in hand that he could see and read to know that it was legit. And so that was why, you know, I told you guys, that's why I wrote this book, right? And so I'm going to share this again with you, The Creation of a Whistleblower. Now, somebody asked me about this. You can't buy this right now. I just want LAUSD to know that it's done. It's all done. It is written. It is complete. And I've got everything and everybody pretty much filleted in this book. I can't bring it out right now because my attorney has advised me not to, because LAUSD, I am not going to tip my hand and let you know how to prepare for this case July 15th or August or September, whenever you get ready to go to court, LAUSD. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to give you any pointers out of here. So once we go to court, then I'll go ahead and pull the trigger and I'll make this available for purchase. But remember, I told you guys, you can read the first chapter. If you go to SergeantCherylDorsey.com, my website, www.SergeantCherylDorsey.com. And if you click on the books tab, you'll see all of my books, because I've written 3. And this will be the last one that you'll see, The Creation of a Whistleblower. And this picture is a little bit different. So this is how you know this is the one about LAUSD. And if you go there, you can click on a button that says read the first chapter. And in that chapter, remember I told you, I name names because that's what I do. I wanted LAUSD to know that I was not playing with them. I'm not scared of you. And I named everybody who wronged me. And it's about 40 people that I named, because I call them in my book the Dorsey Task Force. Instead of Michelle King and Dave Holmquist, the general counsel, and all 6 members on the Board of Education, instead of them investigating my complaint like they said they did in one of the articles that I put up, they said, oh no, when we get a complaint, we investigate it. We take this stuff serious. I can't wait till we go to court so I can find out, well, did you take it serious when it came from me? Because I was complaining for about 6 months. And then y'all just sent me home with pay because you couldn't shut me up. So I don't know. You got some splaining to do, LAUSD. You got some splaining to do. So I just wanted to put it out there exactly who did what and why. And like I said, it was about 40 different people I call them the Dorsey task force because, you know, my police friends understand, you know, when you put together a big operation, it's called a task force. You bring in entities from other agencies and everybody has a job. And that's what the school district did. There were 40 different people. Everybody had a job. One person's job was to monitor my social media. And I know that now that I'm gone, they continue to monitor it. And that's why I'm kind of talking to them as I'm talking to you. Somebody monitored my social media. Other people were trying to, unsuccessfully, but I know this now, Jorge Urijo, my supervisor, this joker was trying to find out when I travel outside the country. He had contacted or was trying to contact one of his buddies over at Customs and Border Patrol to find out about my out-of-country travel. But because Customs and Border Patrol said, hey, homie, why you need to know? You need to give us a letter in writing and explain to us why you need this information. And he couldn't do it because he had no right to that information about my out-of-country travel. What am I, the damn Taliban? So that didn't happen. But there was a lot of stuff that was done, monitoring my social media. They were taking pictures of me in the building as I was coming and going, and I was okay with that because I had told them when they first started messing with me that I used to be a supervisor on the Los Angeles Police Department, and I'm good at what I do. And so if you want to play ball, then let's play ball. So while they were, you know, my ex, God bless him, has a saying, you know, when you're effing people, sometimes you find out that they're effing you. And so while they thought they were effing me, yeah, that part. So, but I'm just amazed that this joker, Kenneth Bramlett, was able to get a job over at Albuquerque, New Mexico as an inspector general. And listen, they just let him go in June of last year. They didn't renew his contract last June. And he was hired, according to the article that I shared with you online, he was hired in Albuquerque, I believe, in January. Now, I have purposely been writing copious blogs about everything that was going on with me in the LAUSD, hoping that if someone Googled his name in a background search, that it would pop up and give them pause. Because Albuquerque, New Mexico, what you need to understand is that he's not a real good leader. Because if he were a good leader, all of the stuff that's going on at the LAUSD right now and under his command with me and after I left would not have occurred. And so you just probably need to get ready for maybe a lawsuit over there. And for whoever has hired Frank Kabibi, you might want to do your due diligence now since you didn't do it at the forefront. Because listen, this was not the first job that he was asked to leave. And I'm talking about LAUSD. He worked at Department of Justice, and he was asked to leave that job as well because he was over there using racial epithets according to information that was shared with me and told to me, allegedly told to me in discovery. So Frank Kabibi has a history. He has a history of racist shenanigans, sexist shenanigans, and he will live to offend again. That's what white privilege looks like, folks. That's what white privilege looks like. And so that's why right now there's a contingency of people who are celebrating Smollett, because we don't often get the homie hookup. We don't. And every now and again, you know, things work in our favor. And what happens most often, which is what's happened in the last couple of weeks, and I said this before, but I'll say it again. I said it on CNN, and when I said it to Anderson Cooper, he just kind of, you know, looked at me. 2 weeks ago, Antoine Rose II, shot in the back 3 times by a police officer over in Pittsburgh, and a jury didn't find that officer guilty. Jonathan Aleda in Miami-Dade County shot Charles Kinsey, who was ministering to a autistic young man on the ground. And thankfully, Charles Kinsey lived. And when he was shot by Jonathan Aleda, he said, "Why'd you shoot me?" And Aleda said, "I don't know." And the jury found him not guilty of negligence. And so I could go on and on. You know, John Crawford shot in Walmart right after Tamir Rice was shot. He picked up an air gun and was walking through the store, and someone called the police and they shot him on sight, didn't engage him. Have you heard of anybody beside Roy Oliver in Texas, who got 20 years for shooting Jordan Edwards, and Jason Van Dyke over in Chicago, who got 6 years for shooting Laquan McDonald? When was the last time you heard of an officer getting any kind of penalty, any kind of conviction? It doesn't happen. The system doesn't work for us. The system does exactly what it was designed to do. It does exactly what it was designed to do. And so, you know, I just wanted to rant a little bit about that. And I really wanted to just put LAUSD on blast. You guys understand who I am. You know, I'm here. I'm in it to win it. And I am excited and fired up and ready to go about July 15th. And as you continue to extend my court date, it's been working in my benefit, because more information becomes available to me about things that I told you were going on, LAUSD, that you ignored because it was happening to somebody who looks like me. And because it's happening to me, little old black Cheryl, no harm, no foul. We'll see. We'll see. And when everything is said and done, you guys, I'll let you know. And I'll just share this with you because, you know, we've had a couple of settlement hearings and, you know, they insulted my intelligence. What I told my attorney is that after you get your cut, I want to make sure that I never have to touch a steering wheel again. So you know what that means. I'll be chauffeured around town, because anything other than that, LAUSD, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you. I have suffered tremendously, and I'm not going to get into a lot about all of that because I don't want to say too much. But, you know, I've suffered tremendously. And, you know, that's what I was told when I spoke to other attorneys, that you have to have some kind of harm done to you before you have a legitimate complaint in terms of a lawsuit. You have to sustain harm. I was trying to prevent them from making me roadkill, but they made me roadkill. And so here we are. Here we are. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm going to continue to say your name. I'm going to continue to say your name, Kenneth Bramlett, Frank J. Kabibi, and Jorge Urijo. Those are the top offenders, the unholy trinity, supported by a cast and crew of about 40 others that I call the Dorsey Task Force, all of whom I name on my website under the books tab in my autobiography, Black and Blue, The Creation of a Whistleblower. So, and also, just as an aside, and I don't know if I really want to put this out there completely yet, because I wanted people to understand as I was sharing my story about what I was going through on the school district, and I wanted other people to know what it is that they should do if they find themselves similarly situated. What I did was I also shared my depositions because they're mine and I can. And I didn't want anybody to think, in any of my books that I've written, I didn't want anybody to think that I was just, you know, making stuff up and, you know, pulling it out of the air. So what I did was I provided a place in my book. I didn't want my book to look like a Gone with the Wind novel, but what I did was I provided a place in my book. And I'll just kind of share this a little bit with you. This little barcode will take you to a place where you can read all of the depositions so that you understand. Incubus, my business manager, he's a beast. He's the one who suggested to me that I do this QR code in my book so that my book wouldn't be, you know, 1,000 pages. It was going to be like 1,500 pages if I had all my depositions in here, because we deposed about 6 people. All of the unholy trinity, a couple of Vivian Ekjian, the deputy superintendent, a couple of people out of HR were deposed. Melinda LaDuff Menifee, who went along with this, Sarah Zamora, who was responsible for monitoring my social media. We deposed her. We deposed all of them, and the unholy trinity, each one of them were deposed 2 days apiece. So I have a lot of documentation in terms of their transcripts. So anybody who buys my book, once it becomes available, you can click on that QR code and you can go to a special place. It's already there waiting for you. You can go there and read their depositions, and you can see what they said under oath. Excuse me, because what they did to me and what they said off the record was very, very different than when they were under oath under the penalty of perjury, because all of those jokers, the unholy trinity, are prior law enforcement, and they understand what lying in a deposition would mean to them. So they had to tell the truth. And one of the things that was really interesting about Ken Bramlett, because when you read that article, my attorney asked him, you know, did you ever talk to Miss Dorsey about the treatment that she was receiving? And he said, no. And my attorney said, why not? He goes, well, because Frank Kabibi said she wasn't being retaliated against. So because the good white man said it, why would he talk to me? Why would he ask me? He's the inspector general. Wouldn't you want to know if you were the manager, if you were the CEO of an organization, if you were the top dog, and an employee, a subordinate said that they were being treated unfairly by your subordinate? Wouldn't you at least call him in and say, what's going on? Or let's figure this out. Let's put this to bed. But Ken Bramlett said, I didn't talk to her. Why would I? Frank Kabibi told me he was not harassing her. Frank Kabibi said that no one was retaliating against her. But if you read that article that I shared with you, you'll see where Bramlett says, oh, no, there's no way that I would allow that. If I knew that my people were being treated poorly, I would absolutely act. I can't wait till we go to court, you guys. I can't wait. But nonetheless, I digressed. I just wanted to say again, we know why everybody's upset about Jussie. This thing is not over. They're going to continue to go after him. I hope he has a good support system now, since his attorneys, are doing what it is that they're doing that's causing so much angst for him. I hope he has a good support system. I hope he is quiet. I hope he doesn't do another press conference where he comes off arrogant and entitled like he did in that first one. Maybe that's who he is. Maybe he is arrogant and entitled. I don't know. But I'm just saying, when you do that, then you ask for more heat. I might be asking for more heat, or some of you may think I'm asking for more heat because I just like to talk a lot of shit. That's what I do. That's one of the, maybe that's one of the downsides of being a cop for 20 years. You learn to talk a lot of shit. You learn to, I had to turtle up. That's what I say. I had to get a hard shell, and I had to fight. And so I got to the point where I like it. So I'm in it to win it. I'm going to talk about it every chance I get, particularly as we get closer to July 15th. And, at some point, maybe I might just tell you guys, if you want to read the depositions, if you got some time and, you got a long flight or something and you want to read, you can hit me up on IM, and, there may be some folks that I'm a little closer to than others that, I would send over to the depositions. But it will absolutely be available in my book. And I'm just chomping at the bit because, like I said, you can see my book is done. It's written. It's been written. Every book that I've written, it's about my life. And so I don't have to spend a whole lot of time. I'm not developing characters and all of that stuff. I just do what I do here. I just talk in a real way, like a police officer would in a report about what was done to me and who did it. I don't tell you how I feel about it. I just tell you what was done and who did it. Because if I stick to just telling what was done and who did it, no one can ever accuse me of besmirching their character or treating them in a way that is not appropriate, or accuse me of slander or libel, whichever it is when it's in print. I just tell you what they did, and I tell you who did it. And that's a fact. That's a fact. So anyway, you guys, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me tonight. And I'm looking at your, hey, Roderick, I'm looking at your, thanks, Tony, girl. Let me just give a shout out to Tony Breedlove, you guys. Check her out. She has a weekly Facebook show that she does as well. And Tony, I can't even say the name of your show, but I was on it the other day. You probably saw the promotional material on my Facebook, but I appreciate you having me on, and I would love to come back and chop it up with you and Reggie anytime you want to have me. You know, I never get enough talking. So thank you, sis, for having me on. Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Pam, for chiming in. I'm seeing your comments here. And for those of you who are coming in a little late, of course, once I make this public and share it on my timeline, you'll be able to take a look at it in its entirety. But anyway, what white privilege looks like. Check out the articles that are part of this feed and read them for yourself. Check out my blogs. Google Cheryl Dorsey, LAUSD, and you'll see all of what I have been dealing with since 2014. And it's not over, but I'm not going nowhere. And I got more time than, you know, than they think I have. So listen, until next time, you guys, you know what to do. Be good, be safe.